Alright everyone, and welcome to the Run Cycle week. You are almost there. This week the Run Cycle, and next week you'll have more animation to do, and then you're good to go. Now, the difference between a walk cycle and a run cycle. First thing first, a run cycle is not a fast walk cycle. That's number one. Alright? The main difference, there's many of them, but one of the main difference, alright, is at one point both feet are suspended in the air when you're running, and that doesn't happen when you're actually walking. When you're walking, at one point, always one foot is on the floor. They're never both in the air. Okay, so that's one of the main difference. Another one would be the actual body angle position. In running, it is way more angled forward than it is when you're walking. It doesn't get deeper than that. And the more cartoonish you want to be, the more you're gonna angle it up to try to make think it's gonna be faster. It looks faster than what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's very important to remember that. All right. So also in a run, something very important is that you can see it right there also on the suspension, is that the stride is longer. It's bigger, basically, because you're trying to, you're going faster, trying to cover more, so you're extending more your legs, and the more you'll extend it, the more you'll make them think it is going faster. And a great example is that if you jog, which you can see that right here, where's my jogging? The jog right here, you see how much the stride is not very wide. They still bend pretty much. And that front leg is not very much up, and it's really smallly inclined only. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to make it look fast, you're gonna have to get a lot bigger stride. Okay? So let's remember that. That's very important also. Again, it's more action in the run that they are in more actions in the run than they are in the walk, and because of that you get more squash, you get more stretch, you get more distance of the legs, you get more follow through sometimes, so you got to put more into it. All right, it bounces more up and down. Okay, and the arms can be different. If you want to be very realistic, your arms should be very close to each other's. See, right here, on that time right here, they are pretty close to each other's. It's got a good stride, but they are pretty close to each other's, and that's very important to be realistic. If you get more cartoonish, then your arms gets wider. All right, right here you can see that. That's what's going on with the more cartoonish type of motions. They exaggerate more the main motion. So remember that. The more you're going to exaggerate, that's part of the principles, the more cartoonish it becomes. Okay? That's very important to remember that. So that's pretty much it for the difference. Now let's look at the different poses, key poses. So you have the suspended right in the air. Alright, you guys. Both feet are in the air, and the arms are pretty widely stretched on that one because it's cartoonish. If you go down right there, you'll see they're not that stretched. Actually, they're pretty tight to each other to be really quick to go up and down, so forward and backwards, so they can create more speed for you in reality. The legs have a bigger stride, and you can see that on all of them. So after the suspension, you get the contact. That's when you land, basically. All right, that's your first landing, and you start to, as you can see, it's a very similar pose. All right, it's just a rotation down, but you get a very similar. You maybe bend a little bit slightly when you're starting to contact, and you land on your heel, and then after that you have the in between. All right, you are flat toe on that one, and you really have changed your leg positioning, not your body so much, but the leg positioning. Now you're bending way more on the landing leg, and even the rear leg has now moved forward and bend more also at the same time. Okay, so that's very important. The arms have joined together closer to the body because you are in between. You're gonna be, you're gonna be crossing soon, and now you're passing right there, and it's a very similar position. The only one of the main difference, the arms are passing each other's. All right, and the rear leg is kicking in slowly up, so you're starting to go up until you get the stride right here. And then you have your big stride, so exaggerate your stride. You went from flat to pushing now on your toe with your rear leg, all right, and you're back in suspension, all right. If you look at the shoulder work, how it works out, it's very simple. The opposite shoulder, right here to the legs forward, point to the legs that's going to land, all right. So you rotate the opposite, and it's that shoulder that are opposite to the legs that is forward, and it's pointing at it, and then it rotates to the other one. All right. So look at all those drawing. On top of that, you have the jogging. You have a lot of different drawing you can do. There's also a cartoonish right here type of 2D type of things. The more cartoonish, the harder it gets to do, by the way. So that's pretty much it for that. Watch the videos. Watch the link, you're on your way. Make sure that, last advice, make sure that your running loop starts off your last and first frame of your walking loop with as little as possible of a transition. So let's say you have a walking loop 1 to 60, make 5 frame transition at the most, so 60 to 65, and then put 60 frame for your running. All right, so 65, you get to 125 basically at that point, and then you'll tell the coder. All right, you'll say, okay, my running, if you played the first time transiting from one or the other, you played from 61 to 60 to 125, the whole thing, and then as soon as it keeps running, you play only from 65 to 125 because I have a transition in the middle. Make the transition as short as possible, and the transition needs to work also with your idle, but that should be a given because your idle should be working with your actual walking, and that's why I sometimes very often don't make any transition. It's a lot easier to do animation like that, seamless, without transition, or very short transition than with long transition. It's a lot harder to put it together, one all together. All right, everyone. Good luck. Ask questions if you have any problem. Start early. Post on the forum.